Sean, I guess tonight's the trick because we are 4 minutes late, but that's okay. Happy early Halloween, everybody. It is October 30th, 2020 on a Sunday.
No, that's on
Sean?
me. I showed up late.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not on you. Sean, I will say I'm very disappointed, though. You know why?
Why is
Because I was going to wear my helmet going into the live stream, but I realized I can't get it over my head. It does not fit. And I'm very disappointed that I could not be at the beginning White Ranger because it would have at least themed with the flag and everything. Just saying.
Oh, well.
I'm very disappointed in myself.
Yeah, those things happen, so.
I know. I'm a terrible, terrible cosplayer. Got to figure those problems out. Speaking of which, my dad had a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me, are you going to show the game?
Yeah, sure. I'll show the game. Why not?
Well, for him, he's actually going to the game on Saturday, but he was like, are people going to be asking him that? I'm like, oh, they already are probably. So, Sean, how are you doing this evening? Are you happy the Cowboys won?
Yeah, I mean, they won convincingly. They tried to let the Bears get back in the game, but Dak overall had a good game. Offense was just ridiculous. Tony Pollard should be running back one. I think he's starting to. Everyone's like, Tony Pollard feels like he should be the starting running back over Zeke. Zeke's had an okay year, but they've been force feeding him the ball.
Yeah,
so it's like Tony Pollard seems to be the better running back at the moment. Yet they have him cheaper at the moment. So
yeah.
If only they could flip the salaries right now with him. And
Zeke is one of those question things where it's just like they use him. He's not what he was a couple years ago, and he's just goal line at this point, really. Like that's what his use is.
I mean, Dak is too. I mean, he had a little QB keeper with a lead blocker early in the first half. So,
yeah. Other than that, obviously, we have a lot to talk about, Sean, because OU walked away with a victory, a very convincing victory, in my opinion. I mean, they had to grind for every single yard and every single point, but they were able to walk out of Ames. Unlike some other teams in Oklahoma, they were able to walk out of Ames with a W going back to Norman to face Baylor next week. What was your thoughts of the Iowa State game? Was it what you thought it was going to be?
Honestly, yeah, kind of. I thought they could go in there, and if they played solid ball, they could get out of there with a 2-score win. That's what I kind of went in there hoping they would do. I wasn't expecting anything more, anything less. Just
yeah.
I knew defensively they were going to give OU some problems, and you look at the numbers stat-wise, yeah, I mean, Dylan Gabriel didn't have a big day throwing the football. Eric Gray, as banged up as he is, was able to run the football a little bit. They weren't able to get Braden Willis involved as much. Marvin Mims had the worst game of his career.
Bro, he could not catch anything.
I think he went to the Xavier Worthy School of wide receivers.
God, that's a terrible school to go to.
Just dropping passes left and right. But offensive line was okay. Wanye was awful.
Wanye was, but overall they were good.
They pulled Matauer quick, and Conjal was there at left guard for most of the game.
He needed to be benched anyway. Matauer's not good.
But
I have no shame.
They put Conjal in there. I was like, damn, they put Conjal left guard. Jeez.
I mean, it has to be bad if they're putting Conjal in. I'm just saying. It's true. They're salvaging some stuff, and I think this bye week they got the heads up of if you're not doing your job, we're pulling you now. And we're seeing it.
They needed a bye week, just even regardless. I mean, Billy Bowman got it back out there a little bit. I don't know how much of a difference he made, but it's just good to see him out there.
Yeah.
Key Lawrence is starting to look like Key Lawrence again.
He got burned a couple times, though.
Yeah, but again, this is a work in progress every week with this team. I'm not worried about Key. Justin Broyles made a play for the first time ever, it seems.
He actually caught an interception. I didn't know he could do that.
I thought that's all I ask of these guys. If there's a ball tipped in your direction and you can actually catch it, I want you to catch it and force a turnover.
Broyles should have had that one against Kansas 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's called progress. So he didn't have it 2 weeks ago. He had it yesterday. So,
and that's fair. I'll take anything. To their credit, the O-line was really good because I'm surprised they were able to run
was pretty bad. Wanye was pretty bad.
With the exception of Wanye, I have to say that they ran the ball efficiently, and kudos to them for that. I wasn't expecting them to run the ball. at all. I thought they were going to sling it all day.
Well, I mean, Iowa State stat wise is a top 10. Hello, dog. The dog is here. What do you want? You have thoughts on Iowa State? Yes, it doesn't deserve attention. He's gonna have a rough day tomorrow night. I know that.
Kennel time. Oh no, trick or treat.
No, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that shit.
Ding dong. Woo! Anyway,
I'm just trying to relax on a Monday night, and there's gonna be random children walking up from Milky Ways. But yeah, the dog is here.
Do you hand out candy at least?
I mean, I'm not
going to put a bowl out there and say good luck.
Honestly, I would do that, but knowing if I was a child back then, especially if I was one of those, see, back in the 90s, like, as long as you're in a group, you can trick or treat by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. So if you're in your local neighborhood, stay within your local neighborhood.
Let me do that.
Yeah, that's called the 90s. They don't do that shit anymore. At least responsible parents don't.
It's because there's drugs in the candy, Sean.
I wish. Are you kidding me? Please put drugs in my trick-or-treat candy. That's the thing with Republicans. Like, they're putting drugs here. It's like, dude, like, adults don't want to give away. You think they're going to give away drugs? First of all, any shit that's good, they ain't giving that shit away for free. Are you kidding me?
I heard that not a couple of days ago. Like, they're going to put
they're not giving away good shit for free. They're either selling that shit or keeping it for themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what fantasy world you live in. They'll put razor blades in there. That like happened probably one time. Obviously, first of all, you don't take like a homemade candy. It's the homemade candy. If someone hands you a sealed Snickers bar, you're probably good, son. Just throwing that out there. But anyway, you demand more attention. Okay, whatever.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, to their credit, like they were able to run on them. I know Iowa State has a stout D line, and their secondary was really weak, but it kind of flipped the script on it. They just wore them out.
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the better teams they played.
Yeah,
like talent wise this year. I mean, they almost beat Texas. They probably should have. I'm not saying they should have beaten Texas, but they got a questionable no call on a targeting.
Yeah.
So they got I would have loved it. They would have won that one, but it didn't happen. It is what it is. Our
for a minute, I thought you said us. I was like, no, we weren't even close. But no, I understand now. Yeah.
Kerry Murdoch has informed me and the rest of the fan base that we're not allowed to have hope for the Big 12 title game, and he's right. Hope is it's a long shot.
A&M.
Say what?
Hope divorced Georgia and is with A&M now. They gotta deal with it. We don't deal with Hope.
Oh, you're talking about that stupid shit. Okay, I know what you're talking about. No, I'm talking about like just for OU getting to the Big 12 title game. You need K-State to basically collapse at some point. So, they beat down Oklahoma State. They beat down Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's beat the hell up, and it was a miracle they beat Texas. So. Yeah.
I mean, this was coming though with them though, like within another game or two. The question is how
K-State. I mean, K-State was down there. K-State's down their starting court. They're playing with Will Howard, and they were at home, and it was just like playing their best
didn't
ball.
Show up. Like the stars aligned for them. Like goodness.
By the way, giant middle finger to the pussy ass douchebags on Scoop who are posting multiple threads, like just randomly posting teams that are doing better than Oklahoma this year, what their recruiting classes are. Just come out
about the McDonald's stuff and everything.
No, just come out and say what you want to say. I just looked at K-State's recruiting rankings. I found it interesting. Just say what you want to say, you cowardly bastards.
Those are people who should not follow.
I looked up Tennessee's recruiting classes today. I found it interesting. You're being a passive aggressive little bitch. If you have an opinion, just say you think OU sucks this year and you think they should be doing better. That's fine. Like there's a million other threads like that, but I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be a passive aggressive bitch. When OU is like they've won 2 in a row, and it's not lighting the world on fire. It's not supposed to light the world on fire. Just if you want to support the team, support the team. If you want to whine like a bitch, whine like a bitch. Waste your energy.
Yeah. And that's what I don't understand. Everyone knows it was going to be okay. Like if we made to the Big 12, like you said, that was the ceiling for this. It is what it is. Though.
We need Texas to drop like 2 games. We just need to beat OSU, and we need
And that's looking more and more feasible every week.
Well, yeah, I would actually go in expecting to be. So we need Texas drop 2. We need to beat Baylor, beat OSU. That'll take care of that. And we kind of need K-State to lose 3 games. That's the really, really tough one. They have 4 left. And so Texas, Baylor, West Virginia, Kansas. So you need K-State to lose 3 out of 4. No big deal. You would have preferred yesterday for potentially OSU to win that one. So yeah, I'm going to sit here and say the odds have gone down a lot, but not impossible. Definitely not impossible.
So you're telling me there's
well, you have 2 road games for them, and then you have Texas, which they could accidentally stumble into a win. It is possible.
Yeah. I mean, it could be.
And then you have Kansas at the end of the year.
With Bean, who could be good. Like, he could be back and light him up. Who knows?
Not Bean. I'm talking about Jalen Daniels. So
yeah.
Daniels. Bean might be able to do something, but I would prefer, their star player to do something. But anyway,
I mean, now to be fair,
all you can control is go 9-3 and go to the freaking Alamo Bowl, I guess, at this point.
Yeah,
where you'll play Oregon again or Utah.
Right now, the early predictions
or USC.
Lighting the world on fire. No, I saw the predictions that it was right now the Tax Slayer Bowl against Wisconsin, or
that's if we don't win out.
The other one was one in the Cheez. No, was it the Cheez-It Bowl?
Oh, so they're going to Orlando. Okay, sure, why not?
I want to say it was the Cheez-It Bowl against. Oh man, I'm trying to remember it now. I don't remember. It was one of the 2. Bill Connolly posted about it, and I followed that. I think the Wisconsin matchup would be fun. I mean, that's me, but I have family in Wisconsin, so my cousin went to Wisconsin, so I think that'd be a very, very funny game, in my opinion. South Carolina. That was it. South Carolina.
Oh, I thought you were picking one of those like really crappy Dallas bowl games or whatever.
No. It's Tax Slayer or the other one. So.
I don't even know where that is.
Phoenix.
Oh God!
Where our dreams go to die. It's always
just cancel. We'll just cancel bowl season. No one cares.
Well, nobody does. The funny one I keep saying
is who the hell is Johnny Johns?
Johnny Johns?
I don't know. Weird people. Oh, just like people find my Facebook and send me like friend requests. I wish they would not. Listen, if I don't know you, do not send me a Facebook request. I don't want to be friends with you. No disrespect. Like, my Facebook is for personal friendships and family only. I have to know you.
Like, that's what all the cosplayers say, man. Don't friend me on my Facebook.
If you like me on YouTube, I appreciate it. It's nothing personal, but if I don't know you, I might make an exception here and there. But no, I am not gonna put you on my Facebook. I will ignore your friend request because, first of all, I hate Facebook for the most part. And
I'm surprised you haven't deleted it yet. Is it because of
Facebook? Well, no, I got people. Listen, there are people who use Facebook not to be assholes and don't post political bullshit on there. They just want to talk about shit they like and make it a happy environment. They want their timeline to be happy on there. What a shock.
Exactly.
And I rarely post on there, but I talk to people and everything, and so once in a while. But it's the reason I don't delete my Facebook is like it's the one way to keep in contact with some people, just in case you don't know where the hell they are and you remember a name and there they are on Facebook. No, some other people in my friend groups have like quote unquote deleted Facebook, which I mean, whatever.
Wop. Is what it is.
All social media is like being taken over by evil billionaires anyway, so it's like Facebook was controlled by an evil billionaire before. Now Twitter is being controlled by a megalomaniac now. So choose what you want to do with it.
Yep, it's true. And Sooner Scoop is owned by Kerry. No, I'm just kidding.
He ain't no billionaire. He wishes.
He definitely wishes.
If he was a billionaire, he wouldn't be doing this shit. He'd be like, promise you, he'd be retired. Let someone else deal with this shit. I don't blame him either. Putting up with like cranky OU fans on a message board.
I mean, I was impressed. What was his name? Wasn't it? He went to law school. It was like Don't you know law school's a little bit tougher? It won't be as tough as this.
Oh, yeah, Kersey. Yeah, I don't mind
Kersey,
Kersey.
yeah. I don't either.
Kersey's like, I'm going to do something easier. Go to law school instead of deal with college football fans.
That's saying something that you're willing to choose the law school for it.
College football fans are insane. It's like I'm insane myself, but it's like
but you have expectations and they're tempered.
Well, yeah, because I've watched college football for more than a year or more than a day, and it's I don't live and die on every play. Some people do, and it's just, I don't get that.
You and I have me and you have hobbies. That's why we enjoy it. We are invested. But you have anime, and so do I.
For my whatever. For my health, I pick my moments when living and dying with plays. I'm sorry, a third and 4 with 8 minutes left in the first quarter is not a do or die play for me. I'm sorry, it's just not.
You're telling me you don't melt down? I'm disappointed, Sean. What next?
No, I'll be like disappointed. Like, oh, maybe next time we'll get it. But it's just every week. It's the same fucking people every week. They're like, oh, we suck. We're gonna lose. It's the first quarter. Whether we win or lose the game at the end is irrelevant to me. It's like, it's the first quarter.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you should have hope if like it, snowballs and turns into a rout in the first half. Then you can panic if you want to. But, oh my God, just
see, and I don't get that either.
All of you people suck. I'm sorry. You all suck. And I wish I could live without you. I really wish I could live in a world, but then it wouldn't be college football. You can't have it both ways. It's a double-edged sword.
You can't have the fanatic or the fans without the fanatic part.
Yeah, it's just okay. I was mad at Marvin Mims too when he dropped that first pass that could have been a long touchdown, callback and a holding anyway, regardless of what would have happened. But it's like I was upset at Marvin Mims too. Didn't mean it was the end of the football game. I had people telling me to call the game. Come on, Sean, call it. We're losing. I'm like, what? Aren't we up by a touchdown right now?
Okay, you know what my dad taught me very early on in life?
We were up by a touchdown because they were getting mad about the back-to-back fourth downs they gave up, the fourth and longs, and I was pissed about that too. It's like, that's just bad. That's just awful. I'm not gonna pretend like everything's hunky-dory. Call the game, man. I was like,
no.
Aren't we up by a touchdown still? You know how these things go. I was like, okay, but I'm going to wait till there's zeros on the clock. And that's
correct. There. And that's one of the two things Dad's taught me. One, game is not over until there's 0-0-0 and it says final. That's it. There's nothing else. Two, any given day. Guess what? You're going to lose some. You play sports and you win a lot, you lose some. So get over it, guys. I don't understand. See, and I don't understand that mentality of already throwing in a towel. Like, there's 3 more quarters, guys. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm a sunshine pumper.
It's not about being a sunshine pumper. It's just about being a rational human being.
Just in general, like I don't understand that though. That is just boggles my mind of just wanting to throw it in after the first drive. They missed it. Cool, guys. There's a lot more. Guess what? That's part of the game. They're not.
Every fan base has those. Every fan base has those people who go into conniption fit if your team doesn't win 52-0 every week.
That's not how it works.
And even then, they bitch about the field goal they settled in that 52-0 score. So it's just, I don't know what you want.
Please everybody.
Like, my expectations are not met this year. I thought they'd drop 2 and maybe win the Big 12 title. They could still long shot sneak into the game if things go their way, but no, it's not likely going to happen. And I'm going to make my tongue-in-cheek video tomorrow where I give the update on where the standings are, and people are going to drop comments and say how stupid I am. And it's like, it's just me. It's a combination of mocking people who believe it's going to happen and mocking people who say it can't happen. So I'm mocking both sides here.
Oh, you're an equal opportunist then.
Absolutely. So for the people who say it's going to happen, I'm like, let's take a look and see what's going to happen. What the path they got to make. It's also a big middle finger to people say it can't happen. I've seen crazier shit happen in college football.
Yeah.
So
you said it yourself. 2006, 2007.
Well, yeah. Well, 7 was a nationwide issue. I blame. I was out of the country when all that shit happened, so maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just important. But yeah, just I don't know. K-State dropping a few games with quarterback. Will Howard actually looked great, but you want Texas to win a game next week for shit to get, or else it's like now you need K-State to drop 3 in a row, and one of those is to West Virginia. Probably not going to happen. But anyway, life is life.
Yeah.
If OU can go 9-3, that's a win for this season based on how things started out, or at least how it's talking.
My expectations are even lower than that. If it's 7-5, I'm okay with that, because how everything is, we discovered like we hit the buzzsaw early, and there's a lot more emptier than what we even thought. I'm okay with that. That's still a winning season. It is what it is, and that's okay.
I mean, it's just
I want 8-9 win, but I'm realistic now, where it's like, yeah, it's possible.
I've just had a shitty October in general. I had that hurricane I had to deal with, and then I watched that freaking TCU game through a hotspot connection, spotty, and just watching how that went down, and the Texas game, and just kind of a shitty month overall. Kind of hate October. Did not like October at all.
Texas took our hat. They know it's our property.
It's on loan for a year.
Are they at least going to pay us for it?
I mean, I'm charitable this year. Like, we let them have the hat for a year so they can feel like winners, and then I gave $100 to a children's hospital because I offended people on Twitter. My God, and then, which is a worthy donation, by the way. I'm not going to say it's not. Hopefully,
well, hey, think of it this way.
Maybe they'll get a PS5.
Here's the question: Did the Twitter people get more outraged at you over that, or Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A
diehard people, and I'm just like, guys,
Chick-fil-A is just
good.
Chick-fil-A is all right. I mean, honestly, I was in my local, little mini mall area place where you can go movie theater, whatever the hell we got over here. And I went and got a haircut, and I got there. It was like an hour wait. I was just a walk. It's like, I have time to get a haircut. It was an hour wait. I'm like, ugh. I'll get some. What do I have to eat over here? I could go to Miller's Ale House. I could go, because I was thinking of going to Miller's Ale House because they have I just wanted a lunch thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, they have that really good grilled chicken soup, but it was like a long wait there, and I walked a little bit further. It's like, oh, here's Chick-fil-A. Like, I've never had Chick-fil-A before. Let's do this.
I'm honestly surprised that you hadn't before.
Because it's like it's like double or triple lines going across the damn thing. I guess they got down to a science, but it's like, good Lord, you think it was like manna from the gods or something. So I go in there to sit down and eat, and I look at the menu. I'm just like, I'm in the mood for I don't want anything fried. I'll get a grilled. I like the taste of a grilled chicken sandwich with tomato and everything. So kind of it's like the one they have at Ale House that I would get at times during lunch when I went to Full Sail, because they have an Ale House right there at Full Sail when I went. It's like, I'll get a grilled chicken sandwich. And I'm like, this is all right. And then I share with the world, which I knew was a mistake. And it's like, okay, I get this. Oh, you got the worst thing on there. Is it really the worst thing on there? It's all right. It's fine. And it's like, everyone's like, you need to get the spicy one. You get this. It's like, yeah, I don't like spicy food. Like, y'all can take your spicy food and keep it. It's not that I'm a pussy. I'm afraid to eat spicy food. It's just like, I don't get the attraction to spicy food. Just don't get it. I don't like fire going down my throat. Oh, it's sweet. I just don't care. It's just not my. I just
You're
don't
telling me, Sean, that you just don't like to have it's like people who eat Captain Crunch breakfast. You're telling me you don't like the roof of your mouth cut?
First of all, I like Captain Crunch. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. So,
but does the roof of your mouth get cut though? Because that's what it does.
No, my roof of my mouth doesn't get cut. Chick-fil-A is fine. And here's the thing: I went back again, and I got the regular chicken sandwich. And then I was like, I didn't have any sauce or whatever. Oh, you didn't have any sauce. I'm like, it's a good chicken sandwich. It's fine. I see why people like it. It's got good seasoning or whatever, but it's like, it's not the type of thing I'm going to get over and over again.
Right.
So, I mean, if I'm really desperate, I'll DoorDash it or something. along with because like I don't know, my go-to DoorDash if I'm desperate is like Taco Bell, Wendy's, and I guess like I'll add Chick-fil-A to that for whatever. But yeah,
For me,
it's whatever.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those, Sean, where I've had it when it's provided to me, but it's like, I'll be honest, the chicken tastes really slimy. Like, not in a dirty chicken. No, it tastes undercooked every time. To me at least.
Well, you're probably going to a bad Chick-fil-A.
No, it's been multiple ones I've always gone to. It's just ugh.
Anyway, enough of that talk.
Football. So OU has 4 games left. They've got Baylor.
Thank God the season's going to end soon. You promise?
Maybe if they go to a bowl game, it's 5 just to torture you.
Well, the whole group that says we're not going to a bowl game is gonna. I think we're good, guys. I think we're gonna make it. I think we'll win at least 1 out of 4. Just saying, throwing it out there.
To be fair, I mean, I was a little meltdown-ish about a month ago, where I was like, "This is the 3-9 team, guys," and it was at that time.
We're not going to be 3-9.
No, they've already passed that easily. They're going to be.
Here's the thing: got to give Brent credit for. Even if they go 8-4, even if they go 8-4, I think if you're Brent, you need to win Bedlam at the very least.
And it's winnable now. Let's be honest. It is winnable because...
Well, I've always thought it was winnable. I never thought it was out of reach because, like, listen, there's no Big 12 team that's just... No Big 12 team this year, just like TCU. They're very explosive. But outside of OU, who have they really dominated? You know what I mean? In conference play.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I was talking about that with Andrew on Wednesday and Gavin on Wednesday. TCU's a solid team.
They got
not elite.
Listen, it was a combination. They got OU at the right time.
Yeah.
And they took out the two most, whether it was intentional or the two most important players went down, Bowman and Gabriel, and they were fucked.
Yeah.
So
and they whipped us up and down the field as a result. Like
they should have.
Years of frustration out on us.
But yeah, they beat down crappy Colorado on the road and something called Tarleton, which sounds like some sort of like chewing tobacco brand.
That's actually funny.
but other than that, you know, they're going to host Tech. And Tech is, you know, they're okay. They might go bowling this year. You never know. On the road at Texas, they go on the road at Texas, which I'm rooting for TCU just to do whatever they can to them. They got that's their toughest stretch is back-to-back road games, Texas and at Baylor, 12th and the 19th. So,
do you think
if TCU runs the table, they're going to the playoff? So I think we need to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, just based on process of elimination, Georgia's playing Tennessee next week, 1-2. Well, tied number 2 with Ohio State, but 1-2, and then you have
that's going to be a fun game.
Ohio State and Michigan will play, so that'll knock one or the other out. So if you're TCU, just like you need to run the table if you want to go to the playoff. You can't lose again. They will never give you a second look if you have one loss because your name's on Oklahoma or Texas. They will not give you because we all saw what happened when you had one loss in 2014.
Well, you know what's even funnier? Here's the thing: when you talk about the message boards and the dum-dums, I had one I saw where someone went, "Okay, hear me out. If everything goes according to plan, can Kansas State, if they win the Big 12 game?" I went, "No, y'all are stupid. You have 2 losses. You're done. That's it. You're not getting in."
No one with 2 losses is getting in unless you're like some favorite team that everyone loves, and you're not that team.
Like, yeah, they're not.
Like they were willing to entertain the conversation for Texas. Like they wouldn't say
they want Texas back.
Well, they wouldn't say they would get in, but they would actually humor people and have the conversation, which I thought was absurd. And right, I know where you. I think we talked about that last week, or I talked about it like somewhere. But either way, it was just it's just like it just fuels the fire of like you all are so in bed with Texas. The fact that you will have that conversation because they almost beat Alabama. Oh my God. Well, Josh Heupel beat Alabama. He also beat Kentucky last night. Very convincingly. I think that did them a lot of favors in my opinion. Like they crushed Kentucky.
They did. They looked fantastic. I have to say that was a fun game to watch too. Like from the intro, like them coming out in pregame with the fireworks and the tea.
Yeah, they upped their game a little bit running through that tee. Like running through the tee,
that was slick, wasn't it?
No, because I'll say this: like running through the tee is like they would just keep all the lights on by dimming the lights a little bit and focusing on the that looked really good on television. Great.
Oh, it looks so clean.
It looks really good.
Oh, I was like, dude, I'm not a Tennessee fan. This is slick. I like this.
So,
and of
like,
course, how they opened it as well on the lights. They started with that light, and then,
bro, I'm telling you this right now. They look like a team of destiny.
They do.
Like if they win next week, I think like that's a tall order.
That defense would be if they don't win.
It's a tall order, but man, you can. Don't look. You can't. I mean, Stetson Bennett is such an average QB. Yeah. And I'm not trying to take. He's a national championship quarterback. Yeah, Craig Krenzel was too. Congratulations. Yes, but like, just I feel like they can do it. If that was in Knoxville, I'd be all on with Tennessee. But I'm openly rooting for Tennessee to win that game. I kind of need Tennessee to win that game, just for something different.
Yeah.
Even if it's the SEC.
Georgia even if it's the SEC. Different.
No, they weren't. They were always in the conversation, but they finally overcame, and I mean, sure, different to some extent, but I mean, like, I want my playoff this year because OU's not in it. I don't give a shit. I would like for Tennessee to be in there. Ohio State won yesterday, and they had like that one guy who just like was a one-man defense yesterday. He did everything.
To be fair, Andrew said on Wednesday, like when we were doing our picks, he's like, I'm going with Ohio State, but I'm picking Penn State to cover because Penn State
they didn't cover.
Yeah, like
Penn State made them look a little human at times.
But it was also in Happy Valley with a 15-point spread. Yeah, to Andrew, credit to you, man, on that because he called that. He's like, I'm from Ohio. You don't.
Was it that big? Was it really 15?
It was 15.5. Yeah.
Did they cover?
Like, give me free money. No, they didn't. They did not cover.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Wow, no respect for Penn State. I mean, I understand why, I guess, but
yeah.
Anyway,
44-31. Yeah,
but
did not cover.
Georgia's not like Jordan didn't play this week. They were off. No, they played Florida. That's right. They played Florida. It felt like they were off because they were playing Florida. Florida, didn't like Anthony Richardson? Wasn't he out? Didn't he like get hurt early or something? Okay, because I couldn't tell. I was kind of paying it. I was just kind of done after yesterday for what we talked about before we went on. I was just kind of chilling, and I was just kind of chilling in bed, just watching the blowout between K-State and OSU, and I was like, okay, I'll just keep this on because there was all the mid-afternoon games kind of sucked. They just kind of turned into garbage. It's like, okay, whatever.
This week sucks too, man. Like outside of obviously we're gonna watch our game, but then again, our game's not gonna be on television.
No, but talk about just finishing what I was talking about the playoff, like Tennessee making it. At this point, give me Tennessee, TCU, Oregon. And let's throw Michigan or Ohio State in there. Whatever.
Well, you forgot Clemson. They ain't losing one.
I said different.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're probably not losing at this point, unless Notre Dame does us all a favor.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn because I don't want Clemson or Notre Dame to win that game. If you made me pick, I guess I'd lean towards Clemson. Any losses Notre Dame takes helps our cause in recruiting. I guess kind of. I don't think it's going to matter. I don't expect any good news tomorrow for recruiting. I think Ohio State's going to win that battle with Mr. McDonald, just based on what I'm hearing. But we'll see what happens. As we all know, shit changes in the last 10 minutes when involving us, good or bad.
Yeah. What about McDonald? Is Bowen not going here?
You're gonna have to wait till you're gonna have to wait for another month. For
gotcha.
I don't think you're going to hear I will be shocked if he because he's committed now. He would have to decommit first. Like, he's not going to say, I'm going to make my decision. Notre Dame fans but you already made your decision. So the one thing everything can agree on with Peyton Bowen, he ain't going to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It would be an upset if he stayed committed to Notre Dame. So everyone's on the David Hicks train, flipping back to OU, it seems. That seems to be, there's a lot of buzz about that. So, and you can see why based on how.
Did you bring the jollies yesterday when A&M lost, ripped their heart out again on their October roller coaster of FERC?
Well, so here's the thing. I watched OU yesterday give up 2 heinous 4th and 12s back to back, something crazy like that. It was 4th and 12, and Iowa State had to go for it. And OU gave up both of those. And I was like, God, that is really that's going to be the most sad and pathetic thing on defense you will see all day, giving up back-to-back 4th and 12s. How could you see a more pathetic performance on defense than that? Texas A&M's like, hold my beer. We're not even going to attempt to run defense. We're going to give up almost 400 yards on the ground to Ole Miss, to Jackson Dart getting 100 or something like that. It was just...
And Lane Kiffin's comment at the end was just chef's kiss. Amazing.
Oh, Lane Kiffin's the greatest troll. It's great when he's not trolling your team. He's great. Obviously, when he's trolling, he's got a very punchable face.
So does Matt Campbell, though.
My dream, and this is a very realistic dream.
Fist fight?
No. Tennessee wins the East, goes to the SEC championship game, and you're thinking, rematch with Alabama, right? Ole Miss controls their destiny.
Yeah, they do.
They went out. They're going to Atlanta. So despite the LSU loss, doesn't matter, because Bama could beat LSU. And actually, do they need? Let me double check that real quick. I think
for Ole Miss,
they may not quite control their destiny.
They play Bama.
No, okay. Oh, right now, yeah, right. So they don't quite control their destiny. Let me rephrase that. They're second in the West right now over Bama. But they'll play Bama soon. So they need it would behoove Bama to beat LSU and Ole Miss to beat Bama. So they don't quite control their destiny like I thought, but it's very realistic that they could they host Bama at Arkansas versus Mississippi State for the Egg Bowl. LSU Bama is in it's this coming week. They get the primetime slot on ESPN. We're gonna have to miss Georgia Tennessee for all the hardcore OU fans watching OU Baylor. That's gonna be the game that's gonna be on behind me on my TV behind me here is Georgia Tennessee. I'm gonna be watching OU Baylor on ESPN Plus with people yelling at me show the game. Which is gonna. I have the ability to show games. I just don't like my channel to be nuked. I could easily show you the game. That's easy. I'm not going to do it because go pay your $7. Don't be a poor. Don't be
or
poor.
An old. Or an
don't
old.
be a poor. Don't be an old. You can pay. You can afford $7. If you're watching me on YouTube, you can afford $7 to watch ESPN Plus.
It's true.
You can. Okay.
It's true. Here, I have a question for you with A&M. Can they drop 2 more?
I don't think it matters at this point, but I would
because they have Florida, Auburn, UMass, and LSU.
Well,
all they need is to lose 2, and then they have a losing season.
Well, as much as it pains me to say this out loud, and they're being last place in the SEC West as we speak, I mean, it'll be a tough game in the fourth quarter, but I think they will beat UMass. UMass might be the worst team in college football this year. Oh. So if they don't beat them, UMass actually has a win over somebody.
Stony Brook.
So Stony Brook. Okay.
I didn't even know they had a football team, to be honest. So
it sounds like a place where cartoon frogs and rabbits live. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like. I always go back that Arkansas should have won that game. They should be a 2-win team, right? And Miami was just so pathetic. They couldn't complete a forward pass with their supposed NFL quarterback they have under center. Florida, they host I think Florida can beat them, and that will be a game I will more than likely watch this coming weekend, leading into ours. Auburn. I mean, two hobos fighting over a ham sandwich game, basically. Is that offensive? Am I going to get canceled for saying that? Okay. Just want to make sure.
Actually, that's one of my funniest ones that you always mention is that one. That one always cracks me up.
Yeah. Auburn and A&M, two hobos fighting over a ham sandwich. And LSU, I think, will destroy them, in my opinion.
They only have to lose one then between Florida or Auburn. And I think Auburn could beat them because it's at Auburn.
Yeah, maybe. I'll give A&M credit where it's due. They finally realized who should be playing quarterback for them now. So,
I mean, it took him, a 4-game skid.
I mean, Weigman's a good quarterback. He's like the number one QB on some services or whatever. So it's not like he's not crap. It's like
right.
It's like A&M does have talent. And I have my shopping list, and I saw poor LT Overton got a little nicked up in that game last night. I saw him on the ground. I was like, "Oh, LT, you need to pick yourself. LT? You need to pick yourself up, pack your bags, and come on home, Norman. Man, you know you want to come to Norman. It's all good."
Didn't correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Isaiah get injured yesterday? Where he was like, "Oh, I thought the bone sticking out was really cool."
I don't know what his situation is, or if that was what I don't know what his situation is, honestly.
I don't either, but
no one has brought it up or anything. So I really hope he was kidding about that. So I actually have no idea what Isaiah Coe's status is because I would hate to lose him. But the fact that he's able to tweet something out like that is like, he's in good spirits at least. And again, I've seen a lot of guys have season-ending injuries and good spirits on Twitter.
Oh yeah, like Ryan Broyles and spaghetti knee. Never forget about that. He'll never be able to walk again with his spaghetti knee.
DeMarco dropped his keys. I think that's an ancient one. DeMarco he dropped his keys as like an old Land Thieves board thing.
What's dropping the keys? I don't know what that means.
Someone on the old Land Thieves message board, which no longer exists.
Right, I know Land Thieves.
No, Land Thieves is actually where Spaghetti Knee came from, actually. I think dropping your keys may have been Scoop, but I think it was also Land Thieves too. Like, say DeMarco hurt himself, he dropped his keys. I love
gotcha.
That. So you remember, I don't know, like, do you remember hearing how Sammy Sosa threw out his back by sneezing? That was actually real. Sammy Sosa, way back in the day when he was playing for the Cubs in his heyday, hurt his back by sneezing. Like, he had a big sneeze, and he threw out his back. One of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. So,
I mean, is that's definitely showing the age at that point with it, because I've heard people trying to pick up a pencil and throw out their back. So,
some famous athlete, like 15, 20 years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, cut the top of their finger trying to make a sandwich, like on a cutting. They actually, it was like, ooh. So they had to miss a game or something like that. I forgot who that was, but
I remember
weird injuries.
I mean, yeah, and people, yeah.
Speaking of which, I mean, Eric Gray sounds like he's okay according to him. He just had to stretch. He's claiming he just needs to stretch out or whatever, so he doesn't claim, like, because he was dinged up after that game, and it's like, oh god, if we lose Eric Gray. Javonte Barnes allegedly has a hammy issue, according to Brent. Someone said he was sick, which I guess is not true, but he has like a hammy. And like Tyler Guyton didn't make the trip because he went to his uncle's funeral, so he's obviously fine. He just, they said, hey, we got Iowa State. Yeah, we can handle Iowa State. You go take care of business. So.
Yep.
But for the most part, OU seems to be as healthy as they can be. Someone tried to say Reggie Grimes is out for the season a week or two ago. I'm like,
I saw that too.
I'm like, who the hell? Like, I heard Reggie Grimes is out for the season. It's like, just like the people who say the randomest shit on message boards, and it's like, all right, is anyone going to follow up on this? No, okay. Because people will ask me about, well, they'll read those things and say, "Hey, did you hear about so and so?" I was like, "No." And the problem is, some of the shit, like 30-40% of the time, there's some merit to it. It just turns out to be slightly different, or people heard whatever.
Yeah.
I always like to hear from people who cover the team. Like, I may not like Drum overall, but Drum has decent info when he's not being lied to by recruits. Um, or, Murdoch or McCuistion or Eddie, usually those guys were boppers below. They'll usually find out. I like Bob going to games and like checking off the kind of the roster. He prints out a roster and it's like who's warming up out there. So
Yeah.
and so you get a good idea beforehand before you watch a game, who's available, who's not.
While we're mentioning recruits and stuff with it, I was thinking about this as well. What that news today dropped about the Big 12 with the contract, I think, with ESPN and Fox. Does it matter for OU what we're going to get from it? Because we're still here for 2 years. Like,
no, but that's for the new extension after we leave.
Gotcha.
That's going to start in 25 after we're gone.
So I didn't catch that. So yeah.
No, it has no bearing on money for us whatsoever. But I mean, it's a good deal. That's just like considering they wanted $400 million a year. They were like Fox and ESPN were trying to get it down to something like 320.
Yeah,
but considering, it's like you watch Pawn Stars and you're going back and forth with Rick or whatever. You're trying to get a good deal. You're trying to sell your ancient pottery collection from, an Aztec tribe that only 3 people know about. I think you got yourself a pretty good deal, considering.
Yeah.
But
all they can give you is this, though. With it may solve world hunger, but we're only going to give you.
Fox and ESPN like, look, I got to make money too. Like $380 million a year is the best I can do. Not a penny more.
Yeah.
And then Brett Yormark just like, we'll go.
Well,
right. Chum will write you up.
All right, come with me. Apparently, he's a genius.
Whoa! Let's not make fun of Chum. Chum is the heart and soul of that show.
No, apparently he's like really smart. Like he just puts that on for the show. Like dude has a master's. Apparently, like
he is the heart and soul of that show, sir.
Yeah. So
I will go into a YouTube hole and I will never come out with like Pawn Stars YouTube clips. I'm gone. Like when you bury me dead in the ground one day, it's like just make sure you have YouTube clips of like a playlist of Pawn Stars for my corpse. I'll be good to go. You don't want anything else? Like, nah, just Pawn Star clips. I'm good. Just keep on giving me new clips whenever they make new episodes. I'm good.
Sure. One day, just bring an OU item in. So
yeah, you bring in your flag. And then he has someone authorize the signatures. You have the dudes like, so the first thing we had to do is like, we got to make sure we have live ink on this thing. And he goes through, you see here, see the oxidization here. So there's live ink. Now Barry Switzer's signature, you look up and his his S doesn't look very S-like, but compared to other signatures, matches perfectly. It just goes on and on. I can see it now. And then Rick offers you like $300 for it because nobody in Nevada gives a fuck about OU football.
Yeah.
I'll give you $300 for it.
No.
Barry Switzer's still alive. He signs everything that's handed to him. All those things. So
I have the running joke in the community is, oh yeah, there's that dirty flag. You need help washing it? No, I'm good. I'm good. But you've seen it in person, but.
Yeah, you're lucky I didn't steal it from me. If I had a car that was mine available, you'd never see my ass again.
You're gonna have to fight Dad over that. But yeah, but yeah, what else happened?
Do you want Sean when you die? Do you want the American flag draped up for your coffin? Because you were a veteran. It's like, no. I want Josh's like OU autograph flag to be draped over my coffin when I go down.
But don't you want other people to enjoy it? No.
No. You don't bury the flag as you put. No, you put it on. Then you take the flag and you fold it up properly, like it's the American flag. Then you hand it to the next of kin. Like I've done a military funeral before.
But does it go down with you? That's the question.
No. Like whenever you do those, like the American flag is on, but then you fold it properly.
Yeah.
You fold it where it's like, you fold it to like the triangle where it's like the stars are showing, and then you properly hand it to the next of kin. Usually it's a wife, a widow, something like that.
That's fair. That's fair.
We had to learn how to do that one time. We had to be in our class A's. And, all right, you
fold yeah. I remember you talking about that with me on that, where it was like the one thing, like the color guard or something like that. I think at football games you did as well.
I didn't do any. I did one football game. I've told that story before, where it was like 2002, and I was on the color guard, and we were in our office. We got an email from the first sergeant, and he said, "Hey, there's going to be a meeting later today about you guys doing color guard for the FSU game." And we're like, "We're doing a Florida State game? That's awesome!" I was excited. I thought we were going to get like TDY money. We're going to Tallahassee, like that, or maybe we're going up to North Carolina or something for maybe like for ACC. Like that sounds awesome. And like I was like, one of my NCOs, like Sergeant Gubby, he's a big Auburn. Dude, we're gonna do an FSU. I know, I heard too. And like he came back in after talking to the first sergeant, and he just kind of had his head down. He's just like saying, "Yeah, I found out." I was like, he's like, he was really weirded out by us. He was like surprised, like why? Because he told me straight to my face, "I've never heard someone sound so excited to work a Fayetteville State football game." Because we're in Fayetteville, North Carolina. It's like, oh, freaking D3 Fayetteville State. God. And boy, D3, yeah, that's what D3 football looks like. We initially what was funny, we showed up at the unit to get ready. We were in BDUs because we thought, and then we found out afterwards, oh shit, we need to be in class A's. Does everyone have their class A's ready? And it's like, because we're all grown adults and know better. Yeah, our class A's were all ready to go. So we all right, everyone go home, change your class A's and come back. I'm like, Jesus H Christ. We gotta get our class A's for freaking D3. So we go there, we do it. You guys want to stick around and watch the games? Like, no, we have real football teams to go watch. We're fans of other teams. I want to go watch. This is 02. I want to watch OU with Tommy Harris and like, running that and like a Sergeant Goodman's an Auburn fan. He wants to go watch Auburn like beat Alabama or whatever that day or something like that. I forget what day it was, but it was like we're all just laughing our asses off, like Fayetteville State. Florida State was still kind of Florida State back then. 02, they were kind of dipping. The dip was starting to happen in 02 a little bit, but
yeah.
Man, oh man.
That's so funny.
Old Sergeant Elwood First Sergeant Elwood Johnson just kind of looked as like, I've never seen someone so excited to go to a Fayetteville State football game before.
Damn it!
Should have known better. Now
there was an asterisk next to it.
Now there was a legit chance to go to like a Carolina Hurricanes NHL game because they said, hey, they want troops to go to the Stanley Cup final because the Hurricanes were in the Stanley Cup. And I'm like, I might actually go to that, but they wanted us in class A's. I'm like, fuck, really? I gotta like be on. Why? I want to get drunk at the hockey game or something. Just like, I want to watch no, I don't want to be. You can't act like a fool at the hockey game in your class A's. So it's like,
that sucks, man. Like,
I gotta be on my best behavior at the Stanley Cup. Come on. It's like I've been to an NBA Finals and a national championship game. Like a Stanley Cup final would have been great to have on my sports fan resume.
Yeah. What ones have you been to? Like, speaking of that, yeah. Which ones have you been to?
Like I said, NBA Finals in 09. Watched the Magic lose to the Lakers. Ugh, pain. I watched Florida beat Oklahoma. The national title game.
Pain.
And like that's kind of it for like those are the two biggest events I think I've been to for the most part.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've been to a bunch of OU football games, Ample, OU, Texas, obviously, but other than that,
I'm surprised you hadn't do like Army, Navy, or like Ohio State, Michigan, or just something.
Well,
unrelated.
that would require me to be in the vicinity of Ann Arbor, Michigan, or Columbus, Ohio, to do that one, and I don't care about Army Navy. I know people worship that game. I just don't care. You gotta go to an Army. I don't care. I really don't. I did Army for 8 years. I'm Armied out.
That's fair. I mean,
don't like people got like. I think the most offensive thing I pissed like people off that were like, they're like, dude, you need to stop. Is when I said, good. I'm glad the game at Army is canceled. Who cares? Don't want to play. Like, what's wrong with you, man? I don't want to play Army. Screw that. Like, why play these triple option teams that are just going to cause you? Look what happened. Like, no. I was like, it's like there's
not anymore.
Yeah, not well. They can't do certain. They can't clip like they used to. But like I remember this one guy that I get along with fairly well. He was like on the. He's like, dude, you need to rethink this position. I'm just like, oh, fine. I won't say bad things about the Army game or the troops anymore. See, I can get away with talking shit about the troops because I was one. So
yeah.
So it's not like it's like you government bitch, veteran, OEF, shut up. I can say whatever the hell I want. It's like what hurts a lot of people's feelings that they don't like to hear this. Most of the troops, for them, it's just a job, and they're getting paid, and they can't wait to get the F out. They are there for very specific reasons for a very limited amount of time, and they can't wait to get out. You know how much time is spent between the underlings just talk about what they're going to do when they're done?
Yeah. I mean,
I talk about it like it's a prison sentence, but for some guys, it kind of is. It wasn't for me. It was a volunteer army. You can, but you serve out your however many. I re-upped for another 4 because I was like, I didn't have a plan. I was like, all right, I'm used to army life right now. I can do this for another 4. I maxed out my 8 years as a specialist, as an E4, and I got out.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to, WLC or PLDC or whatever? Like, no. I don't want to be in charge of morons. It's like, you want me to be in charge of a squad? No. Screw that. I ain't gonna be no squad leader.
Well, my understanding was always if you're not an officer, a soldier, or the equivalent of it, I guess, for Navy or Air Force.
Well, you're a job. You're a sailor in the Navy, you're a Marine in the Marines, and you're an airman in the Air Force.
So. There we go. And then it was like, if you're officer, yes, that is your career for it. But that's night and day.
Well, officer is a whole different deal. Like some people go straight in and like they start off as an E4 and they have college and they go to, OCS. I blanked on what the name was at first, but they go to OCS. Like, there are like butter bars or second lieutenants who walk in who never really lived the life of a grunt. Or just like a low level, like the E4 Mafia. Like the E4 Mafia was real.
You just triggered something in me. I just remembered something from high school, and I'm just like, wow, that was a while back, but I'm still pissed off about it. I remember a person, I went to school with him even all the way back to elementary, and he got to West Point. Not a big deal, but I remember going to the office. We were doing the final graduation.
See, when I ever hear this, like, yeah, this is how I feel about like officers who went to West Point. Their shit don't stink, and they have all the answers.
No, yeah, he always felt like he had all the answers for it.
Yeah, you wonder why, like, I don't give a shit about the Army Navy game. A bunch of West Point pricks who think they're special.
Yeah, but anyway, so we were
most of you assholes never had to work like a CQ for 24 hours straight, or have to deal with like details, like shit details or whatever. It's like, I don't respect you. I respect the NCOs that are guys that are NCOs who then go to OCS, because at least they've done both. They went up through enlisted, they were NCOs, and then they said, I'm gonna go to OCS and become an officer. I respect those guys, because like those people are not freaking pricks, because they get it from all sides. They understand it.
Yeah, they get it.
I've had plenty of officers I worked with that were cool, that were not good idea fairies, but man, the good idea fairies just making your lives miserable one day at a time.
Well, that's the thing. It's why you made me remember, like, yeah, he was an asshole. Like, congrats to him for getting to West Point out of school. Like, Never will diss anybody for that.
I
But
have an
will
idea
say-
to fix the barracks and how the security issues. We'll have guys work the CQ desk, inspect every single thing that comes in through the door. So if you have bags of groceries, someone who actually takes their job seriously, who's afraid of doing something wrong, is going to go through all 12 of my bags that are filled with bread, milk, or whatever the hell. And I got to wait 10 minutes because he's got to, because he's like so scared of like being,
he's inspecting the stuff to make sure that there's not razor blades in it or drugs in the food.
Well, no, but like this is going to shock you, but like alcohol was banned in our barracks because grown-ups couldn't, handle their shit.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that.
And it's like
that's not a surprise to me.
I don't drink for the most part. Like on occasion I will, but I don't. For the most part, I just don't do it. And it's like I don't have alcohol, bro. Please, can I go? It's like I don't want to sit here and talk to you about your day. It's like, and it's just like I gotta check every bag. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, dude! If I give you $5, will you leave me alone? Like for real, it's like
that answer is no.
Like here's what I used to do. In my early days when in the barracks, it's like I would always keep like a 6-pack of bottled beer in my mini fridge.
Yeah.
I wouldn't drink it. I had it there for a reason, for Fridays. Because once it said dismissed for the weekend, go to my room, take out, just like immediately get there, lock the door, no phone is ringing, pop the bottle, have it, an open beer bottle nearby in my hand in case someone knocked on my door. You know why? Because if someone knocks on my door and says, hey, we got something we got to do, I'm intoxicated. Can't do it, man. Those are little tricks you learn. I made sure I had one empty and one half full or half empty because I'm 1.5 in on an early Friday. I'm chilling. I got some music playing. I'm enjoying my Friday, whether I plan to go out or not. Because I don't know, because like some people want to go out on a Friday, do stuff, or I'm staying in. It all depends. Like now, I rarely had to do this like after like my first year or so because shit changed. But it's like, always had that 6-pack in the fridge, just because that's how much you were allowed to have. You're allowed to have one 6-pack of anything. Like, okay, that's what you did, man. So in case anyone tries to pull some, hey man, you should intoxicated. Can't do it,
my bro.
So for the ones who go by the rules, so I got alcohol in my system. I'm a danger to everyone around me. You don't want me driving an LMTV right now, do you? Intoxicated, man. Can't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was life early days of the Army.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like,
but for the most part, I was able to avoid that shit because I worked at a pretty laid back, cool unit for the most part. But early days, there's a little transition period, just like, all right. And plus, I had a really cool. I had a room that was on the very far end, like the barracks were kind of like this. Like here's one wing, here's another wing, type of thing. Yeah. That type of building. I had a room that was at the very, very end of the hallway, so I had easy access to the outside if I wanted to. Just walk in and walk out. They fixed that shit quick. Hey, you got to go through the front. My room's right there, dude. You always need to find out who's working CQ, get the CQ schedule. CQ being like, they always have 2 to 3 guys working, front desk of the barracks. So someone's monitoring and everything. Because people have visitors at times, or they have deliveries that you can order food or whatever. But it's like, you always find out what days, okay, who can I work with? Who's going to be cool? Who's going to be a prick? Should I get the hell out, stay out of the barracks that night? And can I go out and party and come back and not have to worry about someone being a prick to me?
Yeah.
So you always got to make sure you find out who's who. You do people favors. It's like, that's just how shit rolls. Like, hey man, I'll give you a 6-pack or a case of whatever you want if you just leave me the fuck alone.
Sometimes you need that.
And then people found out I liked anime, and then those are other favors that happen later. But that's another time. It's another story for another day, which I've told
for another day.
Before.
Yeah.
Anyway, people
Well,
want to hear football. Whoever's left.
of course. Well, I'm going to tell my story from it, and then we'll talk more football. But I remember the person in West Point. They were in front of me, and they turned their stuff in for graduation. It's like cool, whatever. They moved on. Like I was up next. I turned my stuff in for the OU stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you actually are going to OU?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, you're actually going to OU. So anyone who says, "Did you actually go to the school?" Yes, I did actually. Fuck you.
Yeah, actually, I do. I pulled that, but they're like, "Oh, we thought you were going to end up somewhere like Rose State Community College or UCO," and I was pissed. I was like,
I got my
"Really?"
GED. I got my GED from Rose State, so that was funny.
But when you're turning it in and it says that it's like I was in the top of my class, like I wasn't number one, but I was in the top 4%. It's like, really? Really? My sister went to Oklahoma State. Really? So yeah, that still makes me a little salty to this day. So prove those suckers wrong. But football, yes, Michigan State, Michigan got into a fight.
Oh yeah. I haven't really dug into what happened outside of there was like 12 Spartans and one Wolverine, and figure out what happened there. I'm gonna listen to Valenti tomorrow. Local Detroit radio. Valenti's a big Sparty. I'm sure he'll have all the details on that. Him and Rico.
What have you heard on front? Because I saw like the beginning where they were already like.
Well, here's the problem. Michigan has one tunnel, so
right,
everyone goes through the same freaking tunnel.
Like OU Texas, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't see. Yeah, but the fights don't usually have. See, here's the difference. Like you don't have
fight
fights.
Only happens when it's the beginning of the game, usually,
or halftime, maybe, or something like that.
No, they've learned that now, where it's like one team will go and then the other one does.
They got this shit down. What a shock! But Michigan's on their high horse and they're mad, and understandably so. Because I'm not saying Michigan is in the wrong or anything, because they have every right to be mad. I just like that this is absurd. This is unacceptable when they had like a horrible sexual predator as a doctor for multiple decades that they refused to acknowledge publicly. Other than that, but this is an outrage, and they've been so. Police are involved in everything. Well, nice if police got involved with Dr. Anderson, who molested half your football team. You know, we got cops. Well, but anyway,
it's things we don't talk about.
That is the biggest like sexual assault scandal that no one talks about. Is that Michigan?
And you talked about it a couple times, and they never acknowledged it. It was just like
it doesn't get outside. It never gets out.
He's dead. Like
that's part of it. It's like he and Bo are dead, so people are like, well, "What do you want to do about it?" I don't know. You need to acknowledge this happened and maybe take down the Bo Schembechler statue. Yeah, because he allowed it to happen, and it's like, but no one's talking about it, because let's just come out and say what it is. It's because it was men that were assaulted. That's why they don't talk about it. See, when it's women's gymnastics and and women who get raped on Baylor's campus, that's going to get talked about, as it should get talked about. I'm not trying to like downplay anything. Those should get talked about. Penn State was children. Good Lord, that was definitely going to be talked about. It's still talked about. But when the problem is when the victims are grown, like 18 to 24-year-old men, it's not as sick. Doesn't grab the clicks or the headlines as much.
Well, even the national dudes, didn't they say like they're surprised this never got traction, because this was a huge story, and it was like it wasn't brushed on the rug, it's just no one cared.
Well, multiple like notable Michigan players have come out. Like, I'm not saying like Tom Brady or anything. I'm talking about like, or even Desmond Howard, but like players that were like, I'll use, what's a good OU example? Let's say if Kennedy Brooks in 20 years said I was assaulted by the team doctor, you'd pay attention to that as an OU fan.
Right.
So like, I'm just using that as an example. So like the equivalent of that.
Right.
So it's like if Kennedy Brooks or a Kenny Stills came out, something like that, hey, this is what was going on. A Gino Grissom or something like that.
The notable names, yeah.
So for the most, if you're a decent OU fan who knows your players,
Yeah.
well, but they don't have their equivalent to like an Adrian Peterson. Like they don't have a Desmond Howard come out and say anything, because Anderson was there to like the early 90s, I want to say. But anyway,
he was there for 20, 30 years, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was Bo's doctor, team doctor, and his nickname was Doctor Drop Your Pants, and it was used.
I didn't even know that.
It was used as a threat. It was like, you're hurt. You got to go see Doctor Drop Your Pants. It was a thing in the locker room. He's gonna have to check you. He's got to put on the glove, among other things he would check.
I never knew that.
Oh man, I think I may have broken my foot. Well, I'm gonna have to get a sperm sample. What? That shit happened. Gonna have to get a sperm sample. I broke my foot. Yeah, it's very important. That's the shit that went down, dude.
Is there like a doc? There is a documentary on there, isn't there?
It's on an episode of HBO Real Sports. So if you have HBO Max, you can see it.
I don't. I know I'm losing out on Game of Thrones apparently too again. So is what it is. Is what it is. What else happened in college football this week? I mean, it was a slow week, to be honest. I mean, there was our game. There was the Tennessee game. I can't think of really anything else that happened this week, Sean.
Wake Forest turned the ball over 8 times. So that was a thing. 8 times.
They still won, didn't they? Or did they lose?
No, let me ask you a question. If you turned the ball over 8 times, what was your guess? Did you think you won the game?
No, but you never know.
You didn't win. They played Louisville, who's above average. I'll give them that.
Okay.
But like,
because I was gonna say, depending on who you're playing, like that could.
Louisville's not good. They shouldn't have lost that game. But like they, it was pretty bad. Notre Dame beat Syracuse, I guess.
Yeah, Syracuse is out. They're very sad about that. Here's my question. I've been circling this outside of it being thing. What went wrong with the Oklahoma State game? Like, did they just have their number in every facet?
Well, OSU's banged up, dude. Like they were banged up when they played Texas.
Did the bye week happen too early for them?
I don't know. Just like we're getting to that point of the year where teams like OSU are gonna, like, if you lose depth, they lost a lot of guys off of last year's like epic, 12-year super senior defensive class that they had. I'm being a little facetious when I say that, but it's like, Jim Knowles is not there anymore, so they had great defense for 1 year, and Ohio State saw that. It's like, oh no, you're not allowed to have great defense. We're going to take your coordinator now because we're actually the real OSU up in Columbus. So
here's a dumb question. I'm serious on it, but it's a dumb question. How long do you think until Kleiman gets an offer for Nebraska? I genuinely believe he's going to get an offer.
I mean, he'll get an offer from a lot of places. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of done with Nebraska and whether if they're going to be good again, because we've already played them. We won both times, like, surprisingly, based on the last couple of years of playing. We actually won those games. I know we play them again down the road a little bit, but call me when they're good. I just don't care.
But do you think if Kleiman's called, do you think he could make them good?
Why would you go? Why would you go? Why?
Because it's still better than K-State. If you're
but there are better jobs in Nebraska that will come open. So why is Nebraska all of a sudden a job you'd want? Why would you want to go to Nebraska now?
The same reason why Tebow went out to USC, because if you build it up, you're going to.
But that's USC. You can actually see, despite all the hate, like, I get USC. You're in Southern California. You have an instant hotbed of recruiting down there, and he's been recruiting well for years. And he took the foundation of what was supposed to be our 23 class and said, hey, come on over. And took a couple guys for 22 from the Southern California bit. So, yeah, like, and he's doing okay right now. Like, if he, now, he don't control his destiny right now, but if he can win out, he can potentially make the Pac-12 title game. And I promise you that one lot, like they danced with the devil last night a little bit with
they did with
Arizona.
The refs screwed them over. Even I have to go, guys, like
I didn't see it. The game was on. The game was in witness protection on the Pac-12 network, so I didn't watch. So I have no idea how that game went. But
I mean, USC won, but that 5
like
seconds,
Tuesday,
that
like Tuesday night, they're gonna have the rankings, and USC is gonna be fawned over like they're God's children and everything. So, I mean, look, they got Cal, Colorado at home back to back. They should win those games. At UCLA is going to be a huge game for both teams because like whoever wins that game is likely going to the Pac-12 title game. And then you got Utah, who's like or they've already played Utah and lost, but I'm just throwing Utah in there as like Utah kind of controls its own destiny. With what they need if you're Utah, you need SC to beat UCLA because that was your one conference loss because they lost. Utah lost at the very end of the game against Florida. They threw a pick in the end zone. And if they don't do that, Utah might be in quote unquote playoff consideration or at least whatever. But if you're Utah, you're rooting for UCLA to drop another game into anyone, doesn't matter. So you could win out and play probably Oregon for the conference title, which is like a normal. But they also got Oregon too on the road. So the Pac-12, the top, it's 4 teams basically: Oregon, SC, UCLA, and Utah.
And they already all have one loss.
Well, no, Oregon's got has one non-conference loss to Georgia by 11 billion points. Right. Because everyone's going to talk up Oregon. Oregon can make the playoff. No, not yet. No, you can't. You can't have a 46-point loss on your resume.
Is it at this point? Okay, but yeah, I mean, if they're undefeated, they're not going to get in. But if it's 3 and it's going to decide if everybody has one loss, they'll get in.
They need to be heads and shoulders above the other teams that are being considered. The problem is right now, everyone's still in love with the 3 SEC team scenario. They're trying to, what if Georgia beats Tennessee, and then Alabama beats Georgia, and then you have 1 loss Alabama, 1 loss Georgia, and 1 loss Tennessee. We should put them all in, and then the winner of Ohio State, Michigan gets in. What about Clemson and TCU? I don't know. See, that's the clusterfuck you're running into if you're Oregon, because you're gonna have 3 SEC teams people are gonna argue over, 2 Big Ten teams, Clemson still undefeated, TCU. So you need Clemson to drop a game. You need TCU to drop a game. You need Ohio State or Michigan to like destroy whoever wins. You need to have them win convincingly. And then you need basically 2 SEC teams to be considered, not 3.
Yeah.
So again, you need someone to get their ass whipped in comparison as well, because of everyone in consideration right now for that, who's got the only loss of all the teams I just did, Alabama is the only team that has a loss, and they barely lost. They lost by a walk-off field goal on the road. Oregon got their asses whipped by Georgia, and if Georgia loses a game, guess who's? And if it comes down to Georgia and Oregon, guess who's getting picked?
Right.
But they'll have a conference championship at the Pac. No one will care. Because the head-to-head will matter more.
What about, and I just want to throw this out there, if they're doing the 3-game scenario, would a 1-loss Alabama, if it goes into this,
if it's a 1-loss Alabama, it means they won the SEC.
Okay, what about 1-loss Tennessee? Let's go 1-loss Tennessee.
Well, when does Tennessee lose?
This week. Let's say
they went out.
Yeah, they went out.
Okay, who wins the SEC? Okay, who wins the SEC? If Tennessee loses this week, who wins the SEC?
Bama, because they'd have to beat Georgia.
See, that's when you get that's when you get into the whole debate with 3 teams. You're gonna have the trifecta.
Well, and that's what I was gonna ask if that's
see, for me, when it comes to that, it all depends what you're gonna get into. I would go to point differential at that point. If Tennessee goes on the road and barely loses to Georgia,
What? Well,
Alabama barely lost to Tennessee. How did the SEC title? How did the SEC title game go? Was it a barely? Like,
well, that's where I'm going into my nightmare scenario.
It's tough because it's
going to be leave TCU out though. If TCU,
well, you're talking about like these 3 SEC team scenario, which is a nightmare scenario for everyone not in the SEC. So,
right,
I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. If it made it to that, would they leave TCU out because of the name? Undefeated TCU.
No, you were not leaving an undefeated team out.
What about undefeated Clemson?
Undefeated Power 5 champions are not getting left out, period.
Even in that nightmare scenario?
Even in that nightmare scenario.
Okay, as long as establish that.
Because here's what's going to happen. You'll have the SEC champ, the Big Ten champ, either Michigan or Ohio State, they're getting in. And then, sorry, Georgia, sorry, Tennessee, you've had great seasons. And people will say, I think they're better. The committee will not leave out TCU
or
Clemson.
I think it was, well, I say me, but haven't you figured out where it's like anybody undefeated, you're automatically in. If you lose one, you get
but here's the thing. If you're let me pull it up real quick because I had it for a second here. TCU right now has, like, however you look at it, ESPN like goes when they played 4 ranked teams and they're 4-0. They beat 4 ranked teams when they were ranked. That's usually how they go for. So they beat K-State, they beat Oklahoma State. I think OU was still ranked at the time, and Kansas.
Would they get knocked? I guess not, but 2 of them being at TCU.
Say what now?
Would TCU get knocked with 2 of them being home games?
No.
Their big challenge being at
Tennessee
home.
beat Alabama at home. That was a home game. So, again, like, if you're undefeated in a Power 5 champ, you good. And that only applies to Clemson, TCU, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. So, those teams, if you have a 0 in your loss column, you're a conference champ, you're good. Pac-12 don't have any of those anymore. When UCLA lost, that ship sailed.
What about the scenario with Georgia winning and Bama losing the title game? So you would get TCU, you get Ohio State, Clemson. That's 4. They wouldn't get in.
Yeah. What do you mean? Who would what?
Well, it was like Georgia winning the SEC.
Georgia wins the SEC and they beat Tennessee. They're undefeated.
Right. It won't matter because then you have Ohio State, Clemson, TCU. There's your 4. They're going to leave the 1 teams out. Oregon wouldn't get in.
Yeah. So, like, if you're undefeated, I would behoove you to stay undefeated.
Yeah. Well, and I'm thinking.
It's why I said Clemson when they beat Syracuse. Like, well, there goes the last team. I mean, people might give Notre Dame a little bit of a shot now. Like, Notre Dame's starting to, like, not be terrible, but it's on the road. But like Texas, Clemson's like a more competent Texas A&M where, we're going to start playing our quarterback now. Maybe I know DJ is still their quarterback.
Yeah,
don't play Ungalele anymore. He sucks. Play your backup. But yeah, if
team loyalty, Sean.
If Clemson drops that game to Notre Dame,
they're out.
Done. They're done. They are so done. I mean, they're not done, but you're gonna need help because people are gonna hype up Oregon. Like there are certain people that want to forgive Oregon. Well, Bo Nix is playing his best football, and I agree. And listen, if we had a 12-team playoff, this wouldn't be a discussion because, like, well, Oregon's going to win out more than likely, and they'll win the Pac-12 and they'll get in. So, and people are going to bitch about, we won't have these debates or discussions anymore. It's like,
yeah, we will.
Okay. I mean, they'll just evolve into something different.
Right. Well,
like here's what's stupid. If you're an OU fan and there was a 12-team playoff, if you go 9-3 in a crazy year, there's an outside shot you get that 12th spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying they would or they like. I will say this: it will be interesting to see where teams that are like, this is kind of the year to take a look at things because they're not going to look at it from this. They're not going to have that mindset for another couple years when they go to 12. But that's one thing I'm going to start paying attention to starting on Tuesday. Who's going to be in that 12 to like 16, 17, 18 range? because everyone's going to bitch. Oh my God. There's going to be 2 and 3 lost teams in this. Who cares?
It wasn't you, Sean, but
There's going to be 2 and 3 lost teams in the. I don't care.
They have it in high school. Like,
care.
it's not that big of a deal.
It's ruining the sport. Oh God, the postseason's been a clusterfuck for a century. Can we get the postseason right? People will only care about the playoff. They're casuals. They bring in money too. So
yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm.
It's all about the playoff now. Yeah, it should be about winning the championship. That's what the NFL is about, getting to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like
but
the Orlando Magic suck right now. They're not going to the finals. Like, I'm a hardcore. I'll watch my Magic, but they ain't going to the finals.
No,
I want the Magic to go to the finals. You know what, Josh? You know why I dropped like $300 for playoff tickets when I got back home, moved back home in 2009? Because the Magic were on an amazing playoff run. I want to watch them play in the NBA championship, and I got to see that.
Yeah,
I dropped hundreds. I dropped well over $1,000 on playoff tickets when I came home because I had some saved up money. It's like, I'm home. I'm going to watch. I went and watched them play Game 6 against Boston just to watch. I figured, you know what? They're not going to win this series, but I want to see them play once. They tied the series, went back to Boston. They'll go to Boston and lose game. Oh, they won Game 7, so we're playing the Cavs now. All right, I'm buying a ticket for Game 4, Game 6. Oh, they won the series. I'm going to buy tickets for Game 3, 4, and 5 for the finals. All of a sudden, it's like, I got to keep this going.
Because it's like, I finished it a while back with it, but it's like The Last Dance. If you're there, gosh, is it worth it? Sugar Bowl, I was there, worth it.
And like, you know what the Sugar Bowl is going to turn into, and people may like or not like this, but
I mean,
no. What I mean is, a game like our Bama Sugar Bowl is going to be like a playoff game, like let's say Bama. Or someone like Bama is like the 5th seed. They're a 1-loss team or a 2-loss team, but they're still in the playoff. And they got to play a 12 and, they would host a game or something. You can still have a great moment winning a first-round playoff game at home. It gives you if you barely make it in and you pull an upset, you're going to tell me you're not going to celebrate that? You're not going to win a championship, but your home campus, you get an extra home game, or you go on the road and you beat someone, it's going to matter to you.
Completely insane.
I don't understand this idea. Oh my God, we're going to have home playoff games and these games are going to matter. They're not. We're going to replace
because you know why?
We're going to replace we lost our car keys and the couch cushions bowl with an actual game on campus that matters.
Because the people want they say the regular season matters. They don't feel like it will matter.
It'll still matter.
They want the bowls. Bowls as
guys like Josh Pate will say, "Oh, we're not going to have these spiked game." Georgia Tennessee isn't going to matter as much. Oh my God, it won't matter as much. Okay, it'll matter to Georgia. It'll matter to Georgia Tennessee fans. You think they want to lose? You take these really high octane games that matter for a handful of games every year and you spread that out a little bit. We talked about the Pac-12 race just a little bit ago. All those games matter in a 12-team race, or Oregon, SC, UCLA, Utah, they all matter.
Yeah.
That stretch at the end of the year, the winner's going to go to the fucking playoff. That's important.
Right. And that's the thing I always hear about what about the 2 or 3 team losses? Guys, in high school, there's teams that are 4 and 7 that get in. Guess
college
what?
is better than high school or whatever. So I'm not gonna cry
NFL
about
wild card.
I will say this: last year's NFL wild card, the very first, those games sucked. So I will say that out loud. But the games after that, up to the Super Bowl, were fucking fantastic.
Right, because they were basically playing. That's why they sucked. But it's no different than the first round of
they did football. Not need to expand the NFL playoffs. I'll say that. I will say that up front. They did that first set of games.
Are you of the same opinion then about the basketball, that they wanted to make it the super duper mega bracket? Because I thought that was asinine.
It was fine when it was 64. Listen, I understand people. It was gonna get too big. I get that. I totally get it, because I always said, if you can't make a 64 team bracket, I don't want to hear you cry.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear you cry. You can't be at the very least the 64th best team. If you're literally in that conversation, like those conference tournaments that they hold are fun. Like the Colonial, like the Colonial and the Big East and the Atlantic or whatever, or the Atlantic 10. Just like those are fun little conference tournaments, and if you win, you go to the big dance and you see what happens.
And it's, to me, the playoff, all it is, because I think maybe you have said it, maybe it was my dad who said it, but it was really, once you're past the top 10, 11 through 25, it's literally all the same team.
People act like
flaw.
People act like that. Oh, no one outside. Like it was like, I'm not saying like I'm not saying that all these teams are capable of beating Ohio State and Georgia and Alabama on the reg, but upsets do happen. And you're also
get hot.
And also the 12 team matters to me because you're rewarding the top four. That if you think these top four are the best, you give them a break and you slot them into like, certain bowl matchups or whatever. And then don't sit here and tell me that 5 and 12 and 6 and 11 and 7 and 10 and 8 and 9 aren't going to be fun.
Yeah,
those are going to be matchups you'll want to see in the regular season anyway.
Yeah.
And you're going to have something. They're going to be on campus and they're going to be fun to watch.
And that was a fight to get them on campus. Let's not forget that too.
Well, they should be on camp. Like, you can't keep putting them in shitty bowl games that no one wants to go to, or like there's an option for certain teams that if they want to play at the nearest dome stadium for weather purposes, they can. That might happen once every 5 years, maybe, depending on who it is. But imagine, like, there's plenty of SEC teams that are not going to be in the top four that will. You tell me, like, Death Valley and LSU ain't going to want to host a playoff game against, like, Wisconsin or something.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I mean, Wisconsin's going to suck this year, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's different. I mean, I went through, there was a couple with it where it was like, we were going to, I looked at like since 2010 rankings for where we would go at. There was fun games. There was OU Michigan State on one of them. There was OU Ole Miss. Like, there was good games you don't normally see. Like, I think the only time we got the bye was 2017. And I think 2018 was like the bye, and that was it. But yeah, there were fun games on there. I'm all for it.
Yeah, so
there was a year, I think it was 2019. I can't remember, but it was you would have faced that undefeated UCF team in playoff. And I would have
if it was like a 12 team or whatever.
Yeah, I did the data on it. It was like, oh yeah, OU would have been matched with them, and I think it was a home game for OU. I need to go back and check. I went, oh yeah, there we go. That would have shut them up really fast, but yeah, they just don't want progress. And some of it is they want their money. The other part, I mean,
Tulane's going to be in Tulane make the playoff this year.
Yeah, it gives everybody a chance. Now, I think at some point you have to cut the cord and say 12 teams, you're either in or you're not. At some point, you got to do that.
When people get confused by 12, why is it an odd, weird number like that? Well, if you want to reward the top four, that's how you do it. I want 16. Well, then everyone's playing everything and rankings don't matter at that point. Like, Correct. If you want the rankings to matter, you got to have 12. That's what makes the regular season matter, because you're fighting for that top four spot to get a bye and avoid all that shit. And but everyone's like, oh, you're going to professionalize college football. Boy, I've got news for you. It's been professionalized for a long time. It ain't 1977 anymore.
No,
so I don't know. It started. It got professionalized like in the 80s, very quick. You just didn't know about it yet.
What you're telling me, Sean, that the player over, I think in USC just happened to not find $100,000 in his room, and that was probably from a booster.
Eric Dickerson was paid professional money to go to SMU. I hate to break the bad news.
SMU rolling in the 80s that this is happening now. So I do want to make one, and then we'll wrap up, Sean.
Oh, you don't want to talk about my shopping list for A&M in the portal?
LT Overton, David Hicks, Dindy, and
Bryce Foster. I want Bryce Foster. Despite
what's the likelihood?
I mean, they're pie in the sky, but they're realistic pie in the sky ones.
Who do you
Because
think? Okay,
we were all in on those guys recruiting wise.
That's what I was going to ask. Realistically, from the closest to probably not, who would what order?
Well, I'm at the
If
point
you had
where
to pick.
well, I'm at the point where I truly, genuinely believe like David Hicks will sign with OU.
Do you think he got just so much backlash from his family?
No, not his family, but it's like, you could see the tire fire that you're going to down there.
Yeah.
And also, I still say you look at mom and her face and her, her body language. She was not happy. And if OU keeps winning and gets their shit together, it makes it a little more appetizing. I think we're going to flip Hicks. Like, don't be surprised if
the fight was not over at that signing.
No, because I'm at the point now. Shit can always change. It's October 30th, but we're about a month and a half away from early signing.
Yeah.
So I think if David Hicks like signs early quietly, like some guys like to do that, they'll sign early, but they'll and all of a sudden he has an announcement at the Under Armour game in Orlando. What could this announcement be? You know what's happening. LT Overton's a little bit of a pipe dream. It's just that I think Gabe Dindy is hurt. Here's what I know.
They're not playing Dindy either way where he wants.
Well, he's hurt, so that's why Gabe and Bryce Foster's hurt too. So guys are a little banged up. So there's no guarantee if you get let's pie in the sky get all these guys that pop in. I'm not. I have no basis on any of these outside of maybe David Hicks. But here's my thing. Regardless of what my wish list is and who is gettable or who even Brent would even want, so we got to take that in consideration if Brent even wants these guys. A&M is going to have a portal exodus, especially from that class. Now we're going to have a portal exodus too. There's going to be some guys that are obvious, and there's going to be a couple of guys that are like, "Whoa, he's leaving." Whoever stays and whoever goes for OU, just roll with it. Just roll with it. Well, I mean, there's the Joseph Wettes of the world that are obvious that he tried to go in the portal. We know he's gone. Like Clayton Smith is probably leaving. Something like that.
Do you think it's going to be the same like what's his name?
We're going to have to. We're gonna have to portal or bring in like interior D line. We need to portal JUCO, whatever we can get, because I don't think we're winning tomorrow with McDonald, and it's just interior is what I worry about right now for D line, which it's not ideal, but it's we'll see what happens. But I'm just glad we're starting to see some of the younger guys get playing time.
Yeah,
Gentry Williams got playing time yesterday.
That's what I was about to say. He looked.
I was like, who? I was like, who's 24? Oh shit, it's Gentry. It's Gentry Williams. Awesome.
Well, I think they finally at the point throw the guys in who are going to listen to the system. If not,
well, it's not. I don't think it's that. It's just that you're 9 weeks into the season and guys are starting to click a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's also too you're not.
Deshaun White played his best game of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, Stutzman started, he made some mistakes, but then he had the near pick six.
So, he was so close to it too.
I mean, it's just the defense is starting to have their moments. It's not all there yet. It's not perfect by any means, but you're starting to see some more flashes again.
Their moments of brilliance.
Yeah. I mean, Danny Stutzman made a mistake and he learned from it. And then people said, "Oh, it was a poorly thrown ball." I mean, yeah, it was but it kind of was, but he cut off the route. He read it like a book. And so that's what you want to see. Progress, guys making plays. So I take the way when this season became what it was, it's like, I wish people would stop bitching like we have a legit shot to like do something this year with like anything notable. We're not. It's like I joke about the Big 12 title game, but it's like Yeah, I'm not saying you can't complain, but people complain like
Be
we're still in the.
realistic.
People are complaining like we're in the hunt for something this year. We're not.
No,
I'm
the hunt is a
taking.
winning season.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're gonna have that, but like my thing is like just you guys gotta like chill a little bit and just like take the small victories this season because this is a total rebuild, and I'm excited for next year, and I'm really excited for 24. I
Yeah,
think 24 potentially is going to be a breakout year for this team.
yeah, and
And
that's
if,
going to be big going into the SEC.
well, if we go to the I don't I'm starting to get to the point where we're not going to go until 25. So
Yeah. Well,
I'm
yeah,
at
me
that
too.
I'm just at that point where it's like no one's in a hurry to go. Like, well, why pay a buyout when you don't have to? You can build
Right.
up your roster. And here's the thing: your 23 recruits are gonna
Be juniors and
mostly are
seniors by
gonna
that point.
well, no, your 23 recruits are mostly gonna be red shirts. 24 they'll start playing, and then they'll have
2 years in the
2 years
SEC.
in the SEC. Your really talented guys are gonna have 1 year in the SEC. So
And
your
yeah,
your 24 class is the one you can really sell SEC football to. Really sell them. I mean, 23 you can, but like,
yeah.
I'm excited about the edge players we got. I'm still waiting on Colton Vasek to flip. Is that happening? Oh, it hasn't. Is Colton Vasek gonna flip? Huh? No. I keep being told he was. No, it hasn't happened yet. Okay, so I
Because
keep being told we're supposed to doom about Colton Vasek. Oh wait, that hasn't happened. So.
apparently the
Is
message
Anthony
board.
Evans flipped yet? Anyone? Anthony Evans? No? We still good? We're not doing? Okay. And look, one or two of those guys might do something. Who knows? But I'm not going to like lose sleep over it. I'll keep my finger on the pulse like a bunch of other people do.
Yeah.
But people just lose
It's,
their shit over recruiting, man. It's like, I can't. The David Hicks one was a unique situation because it literally happened at the last minute. But
right, and that's an exception to the rule.
But it's like I'm not going to lose sleep over guys who have never put on a helmet for the team. Just not going to do it.
I always have the one
move
where
on.
it's
Like someone got mad at me last night saying, "Don't you're so desperate with the David Hicks thing." No, I'm saying the David Hicks stuff because I think it's going to happen at this point.
Yeah, it's not over. Yeah,
I was like,
but
"Come on, it's not too late, David. Come on back, make Mama smile." It's like you should do. It's just like I'm not.
He's not
Obviously,
gone yet.
I mean, people have been rumbling about David Hicks. It's like,
yeah, it's not over yet. And in a day, the internet has caused a lot of people who don't follow recruiting to give them information who should not be following it. So,
well, plus you again, as I said, you see the tire fire in College Station, and they continue to lose. I mean, it's one thing if they're losing. Losing is one thing. There's all the other ancillary shit that surrounds it. You know, the smoking, vaping, or smoking weed in the locker room. You got the guys who are disgruntled, like the guys who are literally, what's the word I'm looking for?
upset.
No. You basically, guys went to A&M not because they like A&M, but there was a bunch of guys who went there that are basically mercenaries. They're NIL mercenaries.
Yeah.
And they, if they don't like what's going on, if they're not seeing the field or they're not getting what they're promised, then they'll go elsewhere. And here's another thing people need to understand about OU. People think OU is not ready for NIL. OU's fine in NIL.
Yeah.
The reason OU looks weak in NIL to some people is because schools like Texas A&M and Miami are overspending on guys because they're desperate and they have like a billionaire behind them or millionaires behind them who are willing to open up their checkbook. And you're seeing the result of it. It's like, like they're A&M literally recruited like I do on NCAA football in my dynasty.
Yeah, and at some point that's gonna shore up. It's gonna
see the way they cheat is they go with NIL. The way I cheat is that I save my game right before a season starts, and I just like scout as many guys as I can, and then go back and reload, and then get the guys because you only have so many points to scout. So I basically, all right, I need to find the diamond in the rough for this position. Oh, here's the guy ranked 39th. That's actually a 5-star. I'll grab him. Something like that. So I do a little cheating in the video game with the recruiting.
Video game.
But it's college football. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. You ain't cheating.
You're not trying hard.
You're not cheating. You're not trying. So
if you had David Hickson, the one, and you went to that, you would just put your save back in. So
exactly.
Sean, time to wrap up. So I want to thank you again for coming back on as usual. Everybody, be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell so you know when I upload a video or when we go live. And we'll be back here next Sunday post game for Baylor. And it will happen, even though despite it being on the ESPN Plus, the game will happen. So
it could. I don't care if it's on Plus. Could you put it on at night? If it's gonna be on Plus, could it be a night game at least? Like seriously,
then you would make Dad disappointed because he can.
I don't care
at night. So Sean, you have a. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say if it's gonna be on ESPN Plus, make it a night game.
Yeah, get the flashing strobe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably not because it's supposed to rain on Saturday, but anyway, Sean.
Fuck me.
Sean, you have a good one. Boomer Sooner, only one, guys, and I'll see y'all here next week. Later.